Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. As many of you know, this channel is a passion project of mine. I have always wanted to start a storytelling channel, as storytelling and mythology and folklore was a big part of my childhood, and we all have our life careers and pursuits, and I never quite got around to doing it, but here recently I have, and it has been a real joy. I thoroughly enjoy making content for the channel. I need to ask you for your help though. If you enjoy my content, could you please perhaps mention it on your other social media platforms, or maybe mention it to a friend and try to get more traffic to the channel? I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm not talented in regards to networking on social media, and the channel is getting so few views that it's a bit disheartening. Some of the videos are getting under 20 views in 2 weeks. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and so I'm reaching out to you, the viewers, for help, and hopefully that will help grow the channel. I put a lot of work into creating the videos and content for the channel, and so I'm hoping soon here, maybe the channel will get picked up by YouTube's algorithm, and with your help, we'll get more attention to the channel. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. During the summer of 1946, Bob Slatzer met Norma Jean Baker in the lobby of 20th Century Fox Studios. He was a correspondent for an Eastern newspaper, and she was a young model trying to get work for making the rounds. They struck up a conversation and made a date for later that evening. Thus began a long relationship that led to their brief marriage in 1952. Even after Norma Jean had been transformed into the Hollywood love goddess known as Marilyn Monroe, they remained close friends until her death in 1962. Since her passing, many strange things have manifested in Bob's life that have convinced him that her spirit is still with him. In 1973, he participated in an experiment that actually caused Marilyn Monroe's spirit to form and materialize. Slatzer had known Anton Lavey, the author of the Satanic Bible, for about 2 years when he learned that Lavey was fascinated with Marilyn Monroe. One night, Lavey contacted him and told him an astrological dark moon would occur on Saturday, August 4th, just as it had 11 years earlier when Marilyn had died. Lavey needed someone who knew Marilyn very well to help him manifest her spirit. Bob agreed to participate in Lavey's plan, and later that night they went to Marilyn's former home on Helena Drive. Lavey had received permission from the then current owner to be at the house. Although she closed the gate that led up to the home, she allowed them to sit in the cul-de-sac that led to the property. They positioned their car against the gates, looking out, and there was no one else around. Slatzer sat in the front passenger seat next to Anton. Mrs. Lavey was in the back seat. Lavey had a tape recorder with songs from Marilyn Monroe's movies, and at about 11:45 p.m. he turned it on at a low volume. He also had a pen light he used to read something he had written. Slatzer remembered that it was sort of like Lavey was speaking in tongues or chanting. At about 12:15 a.m., the night became still. Not a single blade of grass was moving. The leaves on the eucalyptus tree by the corner of the house were still. All of a sudden, a terrific wind came up. The tree looked as if it were in a hurricane for 3 or 4 minutes, yet nothing else on either side of the road was moving. Then, from out of nowhere, I didn't even turn my head or blink, and I do have 20/20 vision, but a woman appeared. It was as if somebody suddenly set her there. She had on white slacks with a little black and white splash pattern top, and I could see a shock of blonde hair. She started walking toward the car. I had goosebumps all over. After recovering from his shock, Slatzer began to think like a journalist. He wondered if the whole thing was a setup by Lavey, a kind of publicity stunt. but he didn't think that Lavey would do anything like that. He seemed too intense and serious about his work. As the figure of the woman began walking slowly toward the car, Slatzer asked Lavey, who was sweating profusely at this point, if he wanted to turn a light on. Lavey indicated that they should remain silent. The figure came slowly toward us and stopped about 30 feet in front of the car, Slatzer said. Anton turned the music down and stopped his chant. When she was about halfway to us, all of a sudden she veered off to the left and stood next to a big tree. She just stayed there, almost as if she was made of cardboard. With a wooden look, she stared at us, and it became crystal clear that she was Marilyn Monroe. Slatzer told us that at that moment he truly became a believer in the paranormal. In life after death, Marilyn was so real, he recalled. Mrs. Lavey had practically turned white and looked almost petrified. Anton, his breath was taken away, I can tell you that. The image of Marilyn Monroe hesitated for a minute, her hands clasped. It appeared that she was looking past their car rather than directly at them. Slatzer thought it seemed as if she was looking past the gates, as if she wanted to enter the gates and go in but didn't want to pass the car. Then she turned to her left and slowly started to walk down the middle of the boulevard. When the ghost of Marilyn Monroe was about 3/4 of the way down the street, Slatzer decided to get out and walk after her. As he approached her, the ghostly image turned, walked in the middle of the street, and vanished. I saw this happen with my own eyes, Slatzer said. He had walked hurriedly through a drainage ditch about 2.5 feet wide in his attempt to catch up with Marilyn's ghost. He noticed that his shoes had left an imprint in the road. The apparition of Marilyn had been taking short, small, measured steps, and had also walked through the ditch, but had left no footprints.